Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Well then, Mahrez has made something of that. It's Mahrez! 2-0 to Leicester City! Next to him, Anthony Kanaka finds Wood. Wood should score! Wood West Kanaka! Yes! Here comes Leicester again with Heskey and Ibbett! Oh, this is incredible! Got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy!
Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube.
Good morning. I was going to say good afternoon then. Somewhere in the world, good afternoon. Good morning and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for another Good Morning Foxes, nice and early on a Sunday morning. I hope you're all doing well. A lot to talk about this morning. I nearly said tonight then. I don't know what's going on. Let's say hello to everybody who's here. Manny, how are you, mate?
Morning, feeling good. And the theme of this morning for me is the word Jerry, and not because we got beaten by a German team. We've got in the corner there the lovely Kate, delectable, looking like a Jerry Hall, exactly, Mick Jagger's past wife. We've got myself, the wannabe, should have been a sports agent in Jerry Maguire. We've got yourself, the man who likes to store Jerry Springer. And beneath me, we've got Crocodile Dundee as geriatric.
Oh, many happy hours spent working on that one, eh? Yeah.
2 minutes this morning.
A lot of AI contributions to that for sure.
How dare you? How dare you?
Wow, what an intro. Kate, what's going on? Jerry Hall, how are you?
Yeah, I mean that's the first time I've ever been called that. I don't really know what to say, so we'll just move swiftly on. Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. How are you guys?
All good, thank you.
Graham's looking very Sandy and Indiana Jonesy, to be honest. I think he's purposely done a little quad there to match his personality for Indiana.
Graham, how's things, mate?
Well, it is good evening from me because I'm in Sydney. Crocodile Dundee, the blunder from down under. It's 9:30. It's 9:30 at night in here, and the jet lag is kicking in sweetly.
There we go. When you arrived in the country and Luke got the hell out of there, I think he's gone to Canada.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Where are you, Graham? Are you in Perth?
I'm in. No, hell no. You don't go to Perth. It's not even in Australia. No, I'm at the other side of the country. I'm in Sydney. Come to visit my family, so I'm hiding in my room at the moment because the hotel's full of egg chasers. Because this is where the English, or Scottish, and Irish Lions are staying after their brilliant victory over those whining, whinging Aussies.
Great win.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to people in the chat. Morning to you, JC Brigham as well. Hello to you, mate. Mr. Fatawu, Wolf, Azola, Keith. Is that an Australian name, isn't it? Keith. Keith's an Australian name. I don't know.
I think it's actually Scottish, but yeah, a lot of us Australians are called Keith.
Why is there a famous Australian called Keith? Why am I thinking of Australians when I see the name?
Isn't
Keith?
the guy in the not the Bush Tucker trial? Yeah, the trial.
Oh yeah, I'm a celeb. Yeah.
Aren't you thinking of the guy who used to stick his arm up Orville?
What?
What's his name?
Before your time.
Before he fell off the roof of a building trying to fix his TV aerial.
Was it Emu or Orville? Which one was it?
Well, Rod Hull is...
It'd be Emu.
Rod Hull was Emu?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're definitely getting distracted early.
Kiosk Keith, I'm thinking of.
No, you're getting distracted early.
I'm getting distracted early.
Yeah, you are. No, Kiosk Keith and I'm a Celeb. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that. Reese, hello to you. Jason as well. Scott, talking about Jeremy Monga and Azola. So, Manny, I'm going to come to you first, mate. We have one last preseason game left. So we're 5 in, I want to say, with one to go before the first game at Sheffield Wednesday. How would you sum up preseason so far, mate?
A very useful exercise is how I would characterise it so far. I'm actually glad we lost upon reflection against a decent Colne outfit on Friday night or Friday afternoon. I think we learned that you learn a lot more in defeat than you will do from victories. It's a classic cliche, but it's true. And I think when you analyse that particular game, you'll see when it comes to team selection in particular, which players might be an issue for Marti's team this season in the style that he wants to play, and maybe give him a bit of a clue about which players he'd like to get out the door.
Are you suggesting that there were some poor performers against Colne the other day, mate?
I'm sure we'll be getting into it pretty shortly.
What about you, Kate? Because as Manny said, obviously we did lose, and in pre-season that's probably not a bad thing because Marti saw some of the negatives. And I mean, teams always lose. I saw Newcastle get battered, I think 4-0 yesterday or something like that, or 3 or 4-0. Sunderland lost 3 or 4-0. Even the good teams, lose in pre-season. It is an opportunity for the manager to see some of the flaws in the squad so that he can try and improve.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be sort of experimenting still, isn't he? So if it was a manager that had been with us 4 years and everything was fairly settled and the style was settled, then it would be probably a different conversation. But when you've got a brand new manager who's only in his second week with us, wanting to see exactly what the more experienced players probably have to offer, because I imagine the youth setup is still very prescriptive. So there'll be coaches that say so much about these youth players because they've been with us since they were about 6, 7 or 8. Whereas the experienced players, he'll need to probably make his own mind up about, to be honest, because Rude's left. There's no handover. We've got Brian Barry Murphy, who's also left. So there's no kind of passing over there of any information, to be honest. And Andy King will be able to provide a bit. But yeah, the senior players is where he's really got to make his mind up. And that's the crunch time because he'll have some kind of budget to work with. He'll have some kind of instructions from the club that we need to try and get rid of some players if we can. So he's got a fairly big decision to make in a short amount of time in that regard.
Yeah. Graham, I'm sure I know you love a browse through Twitter, Graham. And you like sending people a lot of clown emojis, which I always find amusing. I mean, on Friday, Graham, after the first loss under Marti Cifuentes, there was genuinely a bloke who put together a 10-page thread on why Marti Cifuentes is a bad manager, a Leicester fan, because Colne. So I'm quite disappointed that I didn't see you replying to that one. But no, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, Graham? Because people will overreact. People will start losing their head and said, "Oh, we lost. Oh, we conceded 2 goals and all of this, and 3 goals, sorry, and we were hit on the counter, and there's flaws to Marti's game, blah blah blah." But it's as Manny said, it's a useful exercise. It's a chance to improve.
I think, Manny took the line that I've written down here. You learn nothing from victory, you learn everything from defeat. Again, and this is the old git in me, none of this really matters now. It gets to me. The only reason it matters is that we have your program to fill, which I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invite. And other things. Normally, pre-season is something held mainly behind doors, closed doors. A few fans wander up and watch a game. Most of the work's done on the training pitch. It is really hard to judge. I mean, except for last season when we lost every game and then we knew we were shit, and then we went into the league and proved that we were shit. I think it's a fitness exercise. I hope all those fast twitch fibers and slow twitch fibers and all that sort of thing are putting in some really good yards to get. And as you say, the Bundesliga team. When I hear Cole, whatever the name is, I think of Cologne in Austria, but in Germany, but it's a completely different thing. So I'm really struggling to find something interesting to say about that. So I'll just shut the fuck up.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it is a different thing. I think you're right, Graham. I think they are the same, right, Manny?
It's FC Köln. It's Köln. Köln is German for Cologne. We use the
Oh, well, there
English
we are.
word. We use the English word, but like we say
Yeah.
Germany, they say Deutschland. In German, it's Köln.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we only used to call it Cologne when we were bombing it. But yeah, I was thinking, because our plane was playing in Austria, I thought it was an Austrian team.
Oh, I wasn't going there this morning.
It's good to see he got to see the Deadwood in pre-season. We opened the season against a team with a bigger circus tent than us, says Tony Smith, which is true. Crazy people think being scored against doesn't happen in football. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna concede goals. We're gonna lose games this season. You know, we're not gonna go and beat, and we didn't do that under Enzo Maresca with a superior squad. We're not going to do it this time around. And I'm pretty sure every preseason, someone pulls out the fact that the 15-16 season, apparently our preseason wasn't great then. It was quite poor, I believe. And look what went on to happen. So, and I suppose as professionals, Manny, it's quite hard. You'd hope they do, but for professional footballers, I bet it's quite hard to kind of fully get up for a game, you know, in pre-season. I imagine that, you know, as soon as the competitive games start in August, and games actually matter and 3 points are on the board, that's when you start to see the actual sportsman, you know, in a player to actually want to go out there and win the game.
I mean, all these players will get put on plans to make them peak for the first game of the season. You know, from the very first day that they walk in, everything gears up for that first game. So none of this actually does matter. There's no sort of rule that says if you tear at pre-season, you start tearing up the league, or vice versa necessarily. Obviously, you'd like to have some momentum and some feel-good factor with wins, but I would argue that Marti is brand new. He's walked in fairly late through the door. He needs to see a bunch of players in a really short space of time. We didn't have many games left to do that. So how else was he going to find out that, you know, Vestergaard can't run? How else was he going to find out that Skip just likes to ball watch and makes clumsy challenges? It's ideal for him to see this in a competitive environment. The team that we played were a decent team. They just got, I think they finished top of Bundesliga 2 last year. So they've won it. So they're feeling good themselves. And do you know what? I didn't think the standard was particularly different. I actually thought we were the better team. It was just a key thing from Marti's play is the danger of it is the transition. Is if you're gonna charge at teams basically trying to win the ball quickly, if they play through you, then you are in trouble against the transition. So there's various things that you're going to do to counter that. And we saw particularly some personnel which are a problem if you want to counter that.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, you know, we did see Leicester face weaker opposition as well in pre-season so far. We had, was it Peterborough, Leuven, the Hungarian team, and then the another team on Friday as well. And in those games, because I know Graham mentioned last pre-season under Cooper, like I think the main difference for me, Kate, so far has been that in those games against weaker opposition, you've actually seen the team have a game plan. You've seen them play a specific style of football. You can see Marti's imprint on the squad already. Whereas last season, whether some people don't mind Cooper, some people don't like him, but even when we played like Shrewsbury, for example, it just felt like things weren't clicking. It felt like there wasn't really a plan. It felt like just 11 players out there playing for themselves. Whereas this time around, you can actually see Marti's vision.
Yeah, I mean, if you think to the sentiment amongst the players last year, they were probably sulking a bit. You know, the God had left and gone to Chelsea. They'd obviously written the "We miss you" sign already, ready for the Copenhagen trip. There was a different feeling amongst the team after Enzo left last summer, and you know, like we've gone over quite a lot, I think Cooper was a choice that was forced upon us because other people didn't accept the role for whatever reason. So it felt like panicked, it felt disorganised, it felt a bit of a shit show, really, which is probably what it was. And those players in particular didn't stand up and show their seniority in the majority anyway, and stand up and try and cohese us, basically. Whereas this season, I think the players are hanging their heads a bit in shame. I think some of them know that they could have done better. I think they know that things have been going off the pitch as well, but that's by the by. So I think it just feels a bit different this time because they know there's a job to do and there's a high risk for those selfish ones amongst them that they could do damage to their reputation and therefore their career if they start sulking again when they've had such a terrible season from last year. So I think it's all about impressing the new guy, being open to these new plans that he'll put in place. And hopefully 80% of it will be playing the way that these players like to play anyway. So that's naturally going to galvanize these types of performances where you listen intently and execute it properly out on the pitch, because all of a sudden you've got a point to prove that you're not crap. And there's quite a lot of people that be looking at Leicester this season and licking the lips because we'll be the ones to beat, or, you know, one of these top 6 teams to beat, depending on how the EFL treat us.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Graham, again, one thing that we've spoken about, you know, the last couple of weeks, and it remains in the forefront of my mind now, is the youngsters, Graham, the young players in the team who you know are being given quite a lot of minutes so far under Marti Cifuentes. I think all summer we've really had a feeling that, you know, there probably won't be too much transfer business this summer because we've got these young players coming through that almost feel like new signings, Graham. You know, like Jerry Monga. I know he played 7 games at the end of the season. He feels like a new signing going into this season. Same with Jake Evans, Lewis Page, Bade Aluko. You know, it's exciting that we have these players who have been given so much game time in pre-season that are potentially going to feature in that first game against Sheffield Wednesday.
I think, and I haven't, you know me, facts and analysis I don't bother with that stuff because I make it up as I go along. But this does seem to me like for the first time I can ever remember our team, being in this position where we have so many good young players being able to play and be part of the team. And I'm going back long before you were even a twinkle in your parents' eyes, Oz, is that a young player called Andy Peake and it could be Dave Buchanan. They came on under a Jock Wallace team and came into the team, and Andy Peake scored a wonder goal. They were playing on a hard pitch, and the older players couldn't turn and whatever. But that there has been kind of these false dawns. We had a guy called Mark Venus who was played brilliant for us, and then for about 2 years, and then went off to Wolves. So this is two good points. One, good players coming through, start of a nucleus of a team, great news, and also going forward, you know, we're going to make a few bob out of them.
Yeah. I mean, Manny, I know you want to speak about it, so I'll come to you next, mate. Jeremy Monga, let's start with that guy, because for anybody that hasn't seen the video yet that we uploaded yesterday, so obviously Monga was born in 2009, right? And I found a photo of me in 2009 in my first year of secondary school, going to a fancy dress thing. So you ready for this? This is me the year Jeremy Monga was born.
That's not a fancy dress.
Yeah, that was just my Sunday. That was my Sunday outfit. No,
Sunday school.
Mm-hmm.
What a mop you've got there, Locks.
Yeah, I used to have. Yeah, that's awful, isn't it? That haircut. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Anyway, so that was me in 2009. But
so you went as Perry, and you went as Perry and Kevin then, or Kevin and Perry.
Yes, Miss Patterson.
No, I can't even remember what I was trying to be dressed as, to be honest with you. But yeah, so for me, Manny, you know, again, people will try and say, "Oh, don't overhype the lads," and I understand that side of it. But I think he's been the best player in pre-season. I think he's been the best Leicester player in pre-season so far. I don't know about you.
If there was such a thing as a Jeremy Monga fan club, I think this channel would be chairman, CEO, dinner lady, everything. Let's do every job in that fan club, because I think we absolutely love him more than anybody ever could. We can see what this player is going to become, and we feel privileged that we've got a player of this ability at our club that could have gone. Don't forget, he could have gone this summer, and he didn't, and he chose to stay and play. and he's going to be a driving force in getting us up because he's just that good. And I think the point that you're alluding to is that sometimes you look at him and you think, he's a 15 and recently 16-year-old kid, but your eyes do not deceive you. He is the best player on the pitch when he's on the pitch. That's the theme. Whether it was those substitute appearances and he was making nice turns and getting himself out of trouble, embarrassing Morgan Gibbs-White, which he did a few times in that Forest game, or whether it's been pre-season, every time. I think there was once where the fullback fouled him and the referee played on. So he just got up and just thought, I'm going to go at this fullback again. I'm going to show him who's boss. And he just runs at him. And I just don't think of a time when I've seen any fullback that's been able to stop him so far. If you dive into him and you try and tackle him, he just moves the ball from the point of contact and he's gone. If you back off from him, then you're inviting a different kind of trouble. So I still can't find a solution because he's such a good dribbler. His balance, his coordination, his close touch control. And I think he's actually being he's holding himself back because he doesn't want to be too greedy and come across as like an individual so much. So he tries to lay off. I think sometimes if there's a shot at the end of this, we're going to see a lot of goals from him too.
Yeah. I mean, Kate, again, I'll say it again. I understand why some Leicester fans are trying to kind of stay a little bit grounded and say, oh, he's still young. He can't play too many games. It's typical of England or British people to overhype, youngsters and they're quick to shit on them too, when things don't turn out too well. But it's hard. It's hard not to get excited, when every time that we've seen this guy. And on top of that, I keep saying this, and I think a lot of people agree, but I don't see how Marti Cifuentes doesn't play him. I can't see it, because when you're consistently the best player on the pitch, you have to play.
Yeah, I think he's making the decision, well, easier or harder. It depends really which way you look at it. It's easy as a first pick, I guess, but more difficult because you've got to think of who you're replacing. You've got to consider his age. You've got to consider his inexperience as well. And like we spoke about last week a bit, there will be times when there'll come a point where other teams have figured him out. But it is still very much a key part of his development, because when you think of all these stars that you've seen, say, in the England under-19s or the England under-21s, and many of them are never seen again, you want to make sure that Monga doesn't fit into that. And I don't think he will, but this is just like a key stage of his development now. Like we've said before, the key point for Leicester City now is understanding the transition to make these guys physically capable of walking across the bridge to the senior team and not having any problems. And he's obviously had some great coaching and great role models to follow. So yeah, for me, I would be disappointed if he's not in, say, the 11, 12, 13 of the squad going forward. Really, that's kind of seems to be looking that way as well, because he's played so much as well. So Marti will hopefully be thinking that he's one of the main playmakers, hopefully with people like Bilal, if we can keep him. And yeah, we'll just got to go from there. We've still got to manage him a bit carefully, but yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, there's, there are some concerns from me personally about the squad, and I think there's a couple areas that we do really need to bring players in on. But the wide options, Graham, I think we are absolutely covered. Steffi Mavididi, who was probably the second best winger in the Championship 2 years ago behind Somerville. You've got Abdul Fatawu as well, who's obviously now back from an injury. Again, there's another one that feels like a new signing because he's been out for the last, 7 months. Jeremy Monga, of course. Casey McAteer, who did well in the Championship last time round. Initially starting the season and then as backup to Fatawu. I think we're stacked, and I think we do have the best wide options in the Championship. And Jeremy Monga being there, it feels like, we've heard from his own mouth that he also likes to play in the number 10 role. So he can play left, he can play right, he can play in the number 10. He could probably play up front. Who knows? But there's so many spaces there that he can play in, Graham, that I think we're going to see quite a bit of him this season. I don't know about you.
Well, again, I think I said this last week, is that he's still growing and there is danger of injury. We haven't also seen some clod-hopping idiot fast enough to kick him into the row's head yet, which will happen. There will be players out there trying to catch him, and hopefully he can dribble past them. I can't see him at this age playing twice a week.
No.
I think I said earlier on maybe 11 or 12 games, full games this season, and maybe sit on that bench. Um, and also watch and learn. This is, he's, it's the other way around. He's played in the Premiership, but he's not played in the Championship. So, and then I think the final point is he is our most valuable asset, and he will be managed in that way that when unfortunately he does decide to move on to bigger and better things, that he does. I'm going back to the only person that I can think of, and he doesn't have the same level of talent, but he was equally important for us back in the day, is Gary Lineker. Spent the whole first season flat on the floor, couldn't run upright, fell over, and then came into being the player he is. I can remember being very angry at the time because he went to Everton, and I thought we got him to where he was, and that my views changed. I was probably quite like you lots, quite radical at the time. I was thinking this guy owes us. He gives us one more season. Give me one more season, and you're going to get your big move. And of course, no, he went to Everton, and then they got the big move to Spurs, and if you can have a big move to Spurs, I suppose, and then Barcelona. But that's where I stand on that one.
Yeah, well, apologies, there's no audio here, but I'm just going to play a couple clips of Monga against Köln, so Bundesliga opposition. I mean, he's a joke. Here we go.
The thing that I notice is just so easy. It doesn't look laboured. It just looks like that's what he is born to do. But look how direct he is. He doesn't faff. He goes straight for the opposition defender. He's not dawdling. He's not thinking backwards, sideways. He's thinking, give me the ball, I'm going for you. You just can't stop the lad. He's too good.
Ridiculous. He's a joke. This is what I keep calling him. I keep just calling him a joke because that's the first word that comes to mind. To be honest with you, he's, I even think back to the seven Premier League appearances he made off the bench, and it's like obviously he didn't score or he didn't get an assist in those games, and he wasn't incredible in all of those games, but in all the games, even on his debut against Newcastle, what he needed to do, he did right. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to, beat men constantly and play killer passes, but he was playing smart. He was doing what he needed to do, and I think that shows maturity as well, right, on your Premier League debut, because you can either try too hard or go missing a little bit, and he didn't do that. To be honest with you, he just did everything that he needed to do right, in my opinion. So. Somebody said here as well, Monga going into sick form next year. Monga, I mean, this is true, Kate. Just talk to you on this, because having players like this, it will sell tickets. It will sell tickets. Having, knowing that Jeremy Monga is going to feature today, people will want to go and see that. We're talking about a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I mean. I think the attraction of him will start to, you'll see that in the stadium for sure. And I think when we start winning and scoring, I think you'll see an uptick in attendance. I know people have been talking about lower season ticket renewals, but it was still 85%, and loads of people who've been waiting in the wings for ages have now got their opportunity to go. So summer's always a funny time of year to sell home and away tickets anyway. So I think some of those are going to general sale. I think, again, because people are on holiday, people aren't feeling it at the minute. But as soon as we start scoring, ticking over, we've got a new manager, we've got the likes of Monga and, other exciting players to watch, then hopefully the fans will flock to see him, and hopefully not too many scouts right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's just end on Monga with that. So, Graham, I mean, how long do you think we can keep hold of him? I know you mentioned the Gary Lineker stuff, because he signed a scholarship, which I believe at the end of it, he can then sign a professional contract. Now, I don't know if he has, because I've seen some people say that the professional contract kicks in at the end of that scholarship. But I don't know. It's still up to him, right? He can decide in a year's time not to sign that, from what I understand. So there is a risk that he plays that well in the Championship this season. At the end of it, again, those same clubs that were rumoured this year, PSG, Real Madrid, Man City, they're knocking on the door, and suddenly he could be off, and I don't think we'd get a transfer fee for him. So there is, like with any player, Graham, when they perform so well, when you're in love with a player for how good they are, your heart can be broken.
Well, one day it's going to be broken if this guy's. By the way, selling shirts. We used to sell shirts. Same number of letters in Monga's name as in Vardy. Obviously, not increasing in the printing sales, but
Extra
that's going to
number?
be the
66.
extra. Oh well, there we go then. There we go. 99 9 twice. I think that again, my recollection again, I'm a senile old git, so I haven't got a clue. Was that now he's signed a professional contract or scholarship contract that leads to a professional contract when he's. So I think I'm somewhere. I'm sure I heard we got 2 seasons under this arrangement.
Somebody has said, he signed a pre-agreement that will kick in no matter what. Okay, so there you go.
So two seasons. I tell you what, who is this guy that's organising signing contracts and bringing through young players and making all? Oh, I think it's so. Hang on, the name will come to me. Is it somebody? It's Rudkin, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, fans' favourite Rudkin. You're right there, Locke.
Sorry, Matt. I just started joking.
Had to do it.
You're a knob.
But as I always say to my son, I'm your knob.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there you go, Manny. Because as somebody in the chat's told us, he's on the scholarship with a pre-agreement for a new contract. So, if that's true, it might not be. But if it is true, that would mean that we will be able to demand a fee for Jeremy Monga in the future. He will not leave on a free.
I like to think that you could go 2 ways, right? You could go the tradie only way, and you can just do one as soon as the hot girl bats an eyelid at you, you're out the door, gone. Or you could do it another way, which was like Jack Grealish did it for Villa. I'll leave the club that's brought me up, that's brought me through, that I owe a lot to, and I'm still going to get paid when I go, but now they're going to get paid too. I hope Jeremy Monga's family think, I've been at Leicester since I was 9 years old. The club's been through a lot of stuff down then. I'm going to be a very, very wealthy man if everything works to plan. Even if it doesn't work to plan, you'll still be a wealthy man in this football arena anyway. You'll always get to Saudi. Damari Gray's earning a fortune at Saudi, right? So you'll always find money. And I like to think that because of, all the stuff that we've done for him, he will do us a good turn then. So I like to think he'll get us up, or help us get up, help keep us up. That's an important thing. We've got to break this yo-yo cycle, and then maybe he'll look at pastures then. But we're judging a player like last season, he was 15. He just turned 16. Imagine what he's going to be like when he's 18, 19, and he's got 80, 90, 100 games under his belt. Obviously, injuries are always the big concern. We saw what happened with Abdul last season, and injuries have ruined many a young, talented career, particularly fast twitch careers, which he has missed the fast twitch. But I think we're underselling how good this kid is. A few people in the chat saying, the usual, don't get carried away. No, do get carried away. It's the best talent I've ever seen come through our youth. And I've seen Heskey onwards, so I missed sort of Gary Lineker, who was already at sort of Barcelona by the time I tuned into Gary. But have you ever seen a guy...
There is not a word of a lie, Manny, on this one, is that I have seen players come through since the dinosaurs were around. And there isn't one player that we brought in that shows at this level, at that age, this level of skill, or any level of skill. I mean, you're looking at Riyad Mahrez levels. You're looking at above Riyad Mahrez levels. Yep. You could be looking at, I hate to say the word, but you could be looking at Messi levels. The level of balance.
I wouldn't quite go that far yet, but you're not being... No, let's...
come on, you guys are just beginning...
Look, there's a difference between Messi and...
Let him get carried away, Manny. Let him get carried away.
Yeah, I know we would be getting carried... No, but you were getting carried away. I thought I'd take your carried away and I'll raise it.
Monga, Maradona, Monga, the 3 M's, the three M's. That's what they'll say. It'll be the debate. Look, the guy really is that extremely talented. I genuinely think he'd already be good enough to play for a top 4 team today. I honestly think he could walk into Chelsea's team and not look out of place, and again be one of the best players in the team today.
Well, you know what I keep saying to people, Manny? I said, we've just spent 12 months absolutely shitting on some of the players in our squad for how poor they've been. Why not? Why not actually just fully get behind a player that you're that excited about, who looks that good? Fucking hype him up.
It's like, it's catchphrase. You say what you see. You know, if a player stinks the place out, you call it out. If a player that you see does something electric, gets you a bum off, I call him a bum off seat player. The second he gets the ball, I'm starting to crouch forward thinking he's going to do something here. He's going to do something. I get that feeling with Abdul, and I get that feeling with Jeremy Monga. Now, Jeremy Monga's a higher level than Abdul because he's got 2 feet, because he can play left, right, central, any of those spots, and it's just so smooth. He runs like Federer. It's like gliding. He doesn't even sprint. He just glides through. It's like he hovers over the ground. Now, I want to get carried away because we've just had a year of absolute shite to watch. So can we get excited about something, please? And I know a lot of people are unhappy that we haven't signed on any players yet. Yes, we have. We've just got £100 million talent on our hands at the left back. We've just got a £50 million player, Abdul Fattawu, back from injury right wing. And now I'm excited because I get to see these boys play. Hopefully, I get to look. Mind you, sorry, Bobby, but if Bobby starts left wing again this season like he did last season, and Jeremy Monga's on the bench, it will be one of those sideshow Bob with rakes in the face. Please don't.
Let it go. You're
Absolutely.
not well enough to cope with this kind of level of stress.
Look, I just want to say it's easy to focus on Monga because the talent is so apparent. But it's not just him. There is Jake Evans, there is Lewis Page, there's Badman Aluko as well at the back, who I'm very, very impressed with. We have got 3, 4, 5, and I'd like to see the likes of Cartwright. I know that Wilson Brown's gone on loan, but Seagrave is starting to produce what it was designed to produce. Yeah. And just in time, because we haven't got money to spend on new players, so to find them internally is a huge bonus.
Well, Kate, time to move on to talk about another incredible fast twitch player, and that is Patson Daka.
I did that Roy Hodgson meme then, where he goes like that, and then he goes like that.
Yeah, no, Patson Daka. Look, we don't need to go over Patson Daka's time at the club so far, but for some reason he walked back into Austria, where we signed him from, and he turned into a half decent player again. I'll tell you what was funny. At the end of the game, me and Duck were watching it, and there was when the final whistle went, there was loads of kids that ran onto the pitch, Austrian kids, and we were thinking, oh, who are they going to? And they all ran to Daka, like getting photos of Patson Daka, which I found just hilarious because obviously a year ago that would have been Vardy, right? Everybody runs to Vardy and has a photo, but they all ran to Patson Daka, and we were thinking, why are they doing that? And then obviously we put 2 and 2 together that he played there. But Daka, I mean, look, Kate, he scored a penalty, which I think was quite a poor penalty. He took his other goal really well, but there's just something, I don't know. I'm just starting to. I get worried, Kate, at the thought of Patson Daka leading a line for Leicester this season, because I think he's had way too many chances. I think we all can agree he's a bag of shit, and the problem, Kate, is that we just don't have many options up there.
We have Jordan Ayew. That's by far the better option. Or even stick Monga at the top, for God's sake. Patson Daka, the ship has sailed, and he shouldn't be seen over the horizon now, really. I'm just over it. I don't even think worried is a word that I would use if he starts. It would be traumatised, because the goal drought would just continue and continue and continue. Yeah, he's just not good enough. He's not settled in at Leicester. I think good enough is a bit unfair because he's obviously a pro player. He's done all right at other clubs, but he's just absolutely not what Leicester need. And we've had many a different manager with him now, and none of them have been able to make him sing a tune. And it's just time to move on from that. I appreciate that he might be a good guy. I appreciate he might train well. Preseason, he tends to do okay. but we're not a charity. We're not here for that. Like, I would genuinely, it sounds really harsh, but start to leave him out of the squad and push him in this window for someone to take him, even if it's just taking the wages off our hands. Just put him out to pasture.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, what's your thoughts on Daka? Because he is out of contract in 11 months, and we'll be losing all of the money we paid for him. He nearly left 2 years ago. He nearly went to Bournemouth on loan with an option to buy. I mean, Danke says here, Graham, his confidence is on the floor. He snatches at shots. I mean, do you know a player who's had 4 years of bad? Like, is it 4 years of poor confidence? At what point do you just say no? It's just him. I don't know.
I think and it's taken me longer to think than normal, but I think that you can get to a certain level in life and any skill and gets you to about 95%. And maybe even more, maybe the 5 or 15% is about confidence. Manny, the font of knowledge, will tell you about, so many things are done through muscle memory. If you start having to think about what you're about to do, then you've lost that second. Now, I'm going to say, and it's going to be a controversial point, but I think everybody starts next season on a clean sheet. You've got to do it every year, whether we want them there or not. We're going to be there. If they're there, he starts game one on the clean sheet. I think we're going to need 4 strikers. So I think we've got Daka, Ayew. We will get, this is my hope, my Christmas list, a quality player, striker from Chelsea or one of the big clubs, because it'd be good for their development to play with our team. And that we buy somebody up and coming, or we can't do. If Daka, who would buy Daka at this moment? Daka wouldn't buy Daka at this moment. But it's the kind of thing, strike. That's why they paid the big bucks. Scoring goals at any level is the top of the league thing you have to do. And I just think I'm going to prepare to give him at least 35 minutes of the first game he plays. But let's just see. He's got a year on his contract. It's the last chance we get money on him. And I know we're going to come to Manny's favourite player later on, I'm sure. But having a load of hate on a player is not good for you. And as I say, if he, how would you like to go out and do your job where half the people around watching you doing and going like, "Fuck that shit," or "You can't do it, mate"? That's confidence.
Yeah. What do you think, Manny? Because
I've got a secondary job. I've got a secondary job for him, by the way. Here's something, an exclusive. I think Jeremy Monga's family, or his father anyway, originates from Zambia. So Patson Daka, your new job is just to keep Jeremy Monga's dad happy all season, so his lad signs an extension at the end of it, right? Just show him the latest tunes, what's going on in Zambia, give him updates from home, make him feel comfy. No, but seriously, no one's taking him offers. We tried to shift him last year. We probably tried to shift him the year before. No one's taking offers because the contract's too big. Same problem with Vestergaard. No one's paying the wages. So if you wanted to get rid of Daka, you'd have to sub half of his wages. And we're not going to do that because we don't have enough strikers. So he ends up staying with us. Now the question is, does he play? And if he does play, is that good enough to get us up? That is a question mark, which I'm a bit torn with. As bad as he can be, I still think there are times when he has uses. Some people might say useless, but there are certain games that I think he would have game time in. So you might want to play, for example, are you in the home games where we're going to be facing a lot of deep blocks, but away from home, where the onus is a bit more on the opposition to come forward, maybe you want to utilise his speed a bit more, for example. However, the best choice is to give you the best possible team that you can get with the amount of money that we have. And consider we don't have a lot of money, the only options, therefore, are loan signings. And I made this point, I think, on the call-in show on Monday, is that we can't afford to buy somebody who is a better standard than players that we can actually loan. So the two that I really, really want, Eli Junior Krupi from Bournemouth and Mark Gui from Chelsea. Both young, questionable whether they'll be getting game time at the Premier League clubs. Certainly Mark Gui's got, at the moment, 3 strikers ahead of him in Jackson, Delap and João Pedro. So I would be on at Chelsea to get this boy through the door. The problem with Mark Gui and maybe Krupi, but I think he's stronger, is there is a bit of an injury problem. So you end up signing someone on loan and they could spend half the season out injured, in which case you fall back on Daka. But Daka would be my backup plan and not my first choice.
Can I add one little bit into this? With all strikers at Leicester City over the last 10 or 11 years, the Vardy factor. How has, with Vardy going, does that change the dynamic within the team, within the strikers of how things done? Are the fact that we've got young, fast players going to deliver deliveries that might suit Daka? I mean, one last quick point, sorry, I know I'm interrupting, is the fact that Daka looks even worse because sometimes he gets himself into a great position that maybe other players couldn't get themselves into because of his speed and his turn and whatever, and then couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying about the Vardy factor. I mean, we saw it with Iheanacho. I mean, when Iheanacho had that little, 6-month period when Vardy was injured, the FA Cup winning season, where I think Iheanacho was the highest, the top goal scorer only behind Messi or something in Europe. And first game of the following season, Vardy starts and Nacho's on the bench. And of course, the Vardy factor was always there, but I just think there's no coming back now, Kate. Even in a couple of the preseason games. I mean, that clip we showed last week where he's basically 1-on-1 and he hit the corner flag with the shot. I mean, I don't see, like, he could. Last time we were in the Championship, he scored 7 goals, right? He scored 7 goals in the Championship. He did eventually end up just getting dropped for Vardy because if you remember the Leeds game and the Plymouth game and the Millwall game, he couldn't hit it on target. But I just think we're past. I get what Graham's saying about a clean slate and all of that, but I just think I use the better option right now, Kate.
Yeah, I use the better option. I just think he is. He's just more of a natural footballer. Daka, like Jake Graham's just said there, Daka sort of overthinks things, and Nacho used to do that to an extent. And I do think that is confidence because you're over trying and you're really forcing it to make it happen. And we know that just doesn't work no matter what sport or thing you do. And if you force it too much, it just doesn't happen. But for me, I know there's lots of players in there, so people in the chat, saying that if we get rid of Daka, we leave ourselves short. If we keep Daka, we leave ourselves short. He's not a striker. He doesn't score goals. You're just keeping someone on there to make up numbers, and we've got plenty that we could use that could stick up as a number 9 instead. Plenty. We've seen Daka for 4 or 5 years now, and he isn't at all anywhere near the mark. So I'm not up for keeping him just for numbers' sake because he happens to be a striker. If he happened to be a midfielder, would you keep him? If he happened to be a reserve goalkeeper, would you keep him? No, you wouldn't. You just want to get. He's expensive. Even if we don't get anywhere near what we think he's worth, just get him off the wage bill or loan him out or whatever it is to take some of that wage hit. But he isn't worth keeping because he might hit a barn door occasionally. I can't get my head around that. He is so poor. The Leeds game in particular highlighted what a high-pressured game that was at Ellen Road, and he fluffed it. And he had an amazing opportunity, and he fluffed it. And that's whether that's confidence or not. He's a professional footballer that's in the peak age of his career now, that he's paid a phenomenal amount of money, and he fluffed it.
He's rumoured to be on 75 grand a week with the 30% reduction, obviously down to the Championship. Obviously, he's still on the same contract he was on when we signed him. Daka reminds me of a crap old car. You keep running it, but you know it's always going to let you down. Daka could have...
All the players that we mentioned today, if you really had to, you could put them in a number 9 position. You could put Casey, Fatawu, Mavadidi even, Ayew, Jake Evans potentially. You could put loads of those in and I'd bet they'd make a better go of it.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's touch on. I want to end with these 2 players. People in the chat, get ready for this. I'm going to come to you first, Graham.
Just before you do that, can I just ask the chat a quick question while they can carry on with that? If you buy a new Leicester City shirt next year, which player's name would you put on the back of it? Please carry on, Lux.
Well, it's going to be Monga, isn't it? Monga 66.
I just want to see, is it going to be 100%
might be up
Monga?
there, to be honest. I think
Fatawu. Number 7 as well. Yeah, number 7 Fatawu, yeah. Yannick Vestergaard and Connor Cody. Graham, what are your thoughts on these two, mate? Because they are slow twitch, high wages. Well, how else can I describe them
the
nicely?
exact opposite of what you want.
Yeah, high wages, slow twitch, a relegation under their belt. Vestergaard's got 2 relegations. They've both got 2 promotions, though. Sorry, 1 promotion. But yeah, Graham, what's your thoughts on these two, mate? Because they were played through for that first goal against Colm just so easily, so disjointed at the back, so slow. But I feel like as it stands, Graham, we're stuck with them, and we might be seeing a lot more of them.
Right. I'm staying at Sydney Harbour. I told you the Lions are staying here, but there are some of the biggest cruise ships in the world come here, and I watched one of them leave today, and I reckon it turned faster than Vestergaard. But all right, but in saying that, I hate to say it, guys, he's my pick for one of the centre halves. If we're going to play the Enzo style of game, I know we say he's got 2 relegations, but I think he was right up there with one of our players of the season when we got the promoted. So we need what I like about him is not his defending, is his ability to get that ball to some fast twitch players. So if the other younger defenders and wingers, I'm more worried about the Thomas Cody. I haven't got a Scooby. I mean, since he fell over the poor sod, the penalty that was very unlucky. But it was, that was the start of his decline. The fact that he's been the voice of Radio Leicester and City, whatever. All I want in the, I think we talked about the spine of the team. Good keeper, somebody in centre half, somebody in midfield. I was saying, forget the Daka stuff. I'd have IU up front. Daka's going to be the 4th choice striker if we keep him. But yeah, do you know what? I don't know what to say about it. Clean slate next season. Trust in the manager to pick the person he feels right for the job.
Manny, with Vestergaard in particular, I think the main difference I think between Enzo Maresca's football and Marti Cifuentes' football is that with Marti Cifuentes, we're going to have a lot more turnovers. We're going to lose the ball more often. We're going to be hit on the transition a lot more often. And I think that is why Vestergaard is a big no for Leicester, because, maybe this is putting it too simply, but, I think Enzo wanted the ball to control the game. Marti wants the ball to attack the game. And with that Marti, wanting the ball to attack the game, naturally you lose it. You get hit on the counter. And that's where Vestergaard is at his worst, when he's having to run with his, towards the goal rather than, ball at his feet.
I think that's the smartest thing you've ever said on this channel.
Fuck off. I did once call you a dickhead, so.
Well, yeah, that could be smarter. You're absolutely bang on. It's Enzo's style that Marti plays, but it's not Enzo, so there is a difference. And the point of having why Vestergaard worked is because we had so much possession. That was his strength, playing his little passes, quite 5 yards, 10-yard passes, the occasional diagonal. But Marti's a bit more direct. We want to move the ball quicker, and when we do that, you will find a few more basketball type situations. We'll be attacking, they'll be on us, we'll counter press, we'll win it back, we'll be on them. And in that kind of basketball environment, you do want mobility. And we saw, that's why the Cologne game was such a useful exercise, because we saw what happens when you have slow twitch players against a transition. Who was the liability? Who were the liabilities? Cody was a liability. Vestergaard was a liability. Winks was a liability. And Skip was a liability. What do they all have in common? Slow. And that is the problem. It's easy to fall into a trap. Dare I say, it's a fair trap to fall into. He was okay last time in the Championship. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be okay this time. And largely why he was okay in the Championship is because the opposition were either not ambitious enough or not capable enough to exploit his weaknesses. Now, anytime you play against a half-decent team, it's easy to play against Yannick Vestergaard. It's the how to attack him, how to to make darting runs behind him, how to set up as the opposition. It makes a big difference. And also for us, we can't play as advanced a high line with Yannick Vestergaard. Get that guy out of this club. I honestly, whatever his contract is, just pay it up 100%. I still wouldn't play him. Just go and find yourself another contract somewhere else. I think he reminds me of Lurch from the Addams Family. He looks like Lurch. I think he's been a vampire in taking wages off us happily without giving much in return. And every time I see him play, it's like Halloween. So, this guy's just an absolute nightmare. Don't want him anywhere near the club anymore. He's also had a problem with 2 different managers and refuses to live less than 100 miles from the ground. This is not the kind of character that you want around the club. He doesn't set a good example for the junior players. It's the opposite. He's a prima donna who fancies himself as being Franz Beckenbauer. Mate, talk to Frank. Out the door.
I don't think this is true either, by the way, Danke. That wasn't our best side, and nor do I think it's what Marti considers the best side either. I mean, that team you had, obviously, the obvious ones, Cody and Vestergaard. You've got Lewis Page in there, who I don't think is going to start the season. I think he'll definitely, still be in the squad this year. I don't think we're going to loan him out, but he won't start, I don't think. So I don't think that is the best side. Well, I just wanted to bring this up, Kate, just to get your thoughts on. Let me share my screen, and here you go. So this is the goal, the first goal on Friday. You can see one ball through here, completely just look at that.
Could you slow that? Could you rewind that and slow that down? Just okay.
Give me a sec. No, I can do it.
Do it at slow speed. Just keep your eye on Vestergaard, right? So now he's running backwards, and this is his problem. Right, he already can't keep up with the other defenders, so he's out of sync for a start. So because he's out of sync, he has no idea the guy running behind him, he just stops and pauses. What are you doing? Now, even if the ball had got past you, you think, okay, the keeper might save it. I need to hit the penalty spot for any kind of ricochet. He just stops.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. There's the image there as the ball's played through. I mean, look at the posture of the man. Look how he's stood. He looks like he's about to do the splits.
Is that James Justin next to him, right? You see James Justin? James Justin is actually supposed to be tracking the guy on the bottom side of the pitch, but he's having to cover for Vestergaard because he knows Vestergaard's a problem. So already it causes the other defenders an issue. So I don't know if I'm supposed to pick up my man or I'm supposed to cover for him. It causes panic stations whenever you face a transition. Yannick Vestergaard is your central CB.
Yeah, I mean, Kate, your thoughts on that clip in particular? Because I feel like we're going to see a lot of that if it's just
rinse and repeat though. It's rinse and repeat, and everyone's sitting there saying, get rid of Vestergaard, blah blah blah. Vestergaard is the reverse of Daka. Every single time he doesn't give you what you need in defence, and like Daka's the same in attack. We've got 2 problem players that are part of the spine of our team, and Vestergaard, he's just all of Vestergaard's negative attributes. You can't improve. We've talked about this before. You can't improve pace. You can't improve sort of natural, innate positioning. And that's what kept happening a bit last year, but it was more fast that JJ kept getting involved in it was JJ and Fast that kept getting their positioning mixed up because Fast was a liability or JJ was left on the right. So this will happen on the regular if we put him in. But if on the flip side, he can pick out a pass. His ball distribution is way better than Cody. Like Cody doesn't offer anything to me. Cody is worse than Vestergaard, in my opinion. So if you could pick between the two, I'd pick Vestergaard. But realistically, you need a heavy possession-based team for Vestergaard to remotely stand a chance and look comfortable. But we'll probably concede loads of goals like that if Vestergaard's there, because not only in that instance is he not compensating for his lack of pace, he's not even aware. If you've got a lack of pace, you have to be aware of what's around you, and he's not even looking. He would know that only JJ's behind him, and he would know that there could be 1, maybe even 2 players on JJ's shoulder. Luckily, there was only 1, and he was well out wide. But it was poor. And is that just a sign of his temperament? Is he a bit half-arsed now? Because
I think sometimes it looks like that, but I think it's just he can't do the things he can't move that giant frame in the way that his mind would like. Like that one clip that we saw, there's like at least 4 errors that I can count. Your positional error, You've got a pace error, you've got an awareness error because you can't see the runner tracking, and then you've got a reaction error because you don't follow what's playing on, you just stop. All these things are repeatable errors that will get exploited. And just because the guy can do a few good passes, I want my centre-back to be able to defend, to dominate, and also look at the alternatives. That's the important thing. When you look at Ben Nelson in the same position, I get filled with confidence.
In fairness, sorry, just to add something, man. In fairness, I think Ben Nelson, because Ben Nelson missed the game last weekend because I think of an injury. So he came off the bench in both games yesterday, right? He was on the bench for both games on Friday. So he's obviously probably just coming back from that injury. So I would expect Nelson is going to start for us this season.
Oh, good. So we've got Nelson Okoli, and I put Aluko as our third choice. So who's our first choice? I think fourth choice at the moment is probably Wout Fass, and then fifth choice is Cody, and sixth is Vestergaard. And working from the bottom, you want to try and get three of those. If you can get Cody, Fass, Vestergaard out the door, then we could maybe sign a centre-back if we get all three. I think that's wishful thinking. I don't think we'll get rid of one of them. Particularly is, I think, are all of them in there last year? I think all of them might be in there last year. And if they are, then nobody wants to pay. When in a year's time they'll pick them up for nothing.
Yannick won't be, will he? Yannick will have 2 left.
Oh, he's got 2. Yeah, he's got. Oh God, he's got 2. All right, loan him. Can somebody loan him? The Saudi want loan him to some slow twitch league where they don't know what they're doing. Saudi.
I genuinely think you've got to think of what Man United have done with Rashford. He's a really, really expensive asset. But Amorim, to his credit, and it's very unpopular to do this, he's really stuck to his guns and just frozen you out. Okay, mate, you don't want to move because you're on high wages, but I will freeze you out and you are not welcome in this club. So you deal with that. And if that means we have to wait till January, then we have to wait till January. You've got to play hardball. You've got to play hardball, but you need to have the balls to do it.
But I think the problem is if you do that with him, he'll just go, sweet, I don't have to commute every day. You just saved me a 2-hour drive to Seagrave. I'll sit in London and take my 80 grand a week. What I would do is say, look, nobody's going to pay half of his wage. Nobody wants to pay 40 grand a week for Vestergaard. So why don't we just pay 50 of it and let somebody else pay 30 of it? And we'll save ourselves 30 grand a week. We don't need the guy. We don't need him to play. We don't need him around the place. Whatever you can save, take it.
Graham, what would you do with Vestergaard? Because again, high earner, and he's got 2 years left on his deal. Unlikely that someone buys him. If you were the manager, what would you do?
Well, firstly, calm down. It's too early on a Sunday morning to raise your blood pressure through the season. Firstly, his first role, I think he's obviously fulfilling expertly at this moment, is we all need a player in the team to hate. Every Leicester team we've ever had, there's always been one player that gets.
We got others.
No, but he's excelling. Pissing off 2 managers, walking his dog.
We haven't touched on Skip this morning yet, Graham. Did you see that?
No,
my God.
No, steady. Look, I've told you. Calm down. Right, we got 3 centre halves that fast Cody and Vestergaard. Everybody says, and honestly, it is. If there was any way we could get these players out of the club, and I'm sure we're not the only club that has high earners that are in this position, they would. You're saying take 30 grand off or whatever. I mean, we're not a poor club. We have got loads of money. We're just not allowed to spend $500,000 in the January sale or July sales as Liverpool has. We have loads of money. We are working under a set of rules that mean we can't do this. So, yeah, I'm quite happy for none of them to play again, ever. I'm quite happy that that somebody comes in and has, Sorry, I'll rewind. It's jet lag. I'll rewind my brain. We do need, and I love all these players you're talking about. They're all going to do a great job. But we always also need, and maybe it's somebody we buy or we get on loan, an experienced centre half that can tell these guys at this moment in time, you should be doing this. We'll have a young goalkeeper. I know he's not that young, but we'll have, you can't have 4 people at the back all under the age of about 23, 24. You need somebody in there. I'm ever the optimist. I love the underdog. I'd love one of these, like we were talking on about Daka. I'd love somebody to come around and prove us wrong. But this is not necessarily what's going to happen. But it's not our money. It's not our wages. There is now what we can do about it. we just hope again that the new manager does something to make it right. But we'll find out.
We will find out. We will find out. We're going to end it there this morning. We've got the Fiorentina game as well next Sunday 3:00, I think.
Yeah.
You'll go into the game, aren't you, Manny? Are you gonna be wearing that shirt, or are you gonna be wearing a Leicester shirt?
I'll wear a Fiorentina shirt. You know, everybody.
Don't be a dick.
Look, I'm a very respectful person, and obviously, obviously,
Are you?
I'm obviously a Leicester fan. But look, I have a white.
What did you just say? Hang on, whoa! What did you just say? Yeah, very respect. I do like their away kit, by the way.
Look,
Carry on.
I'm a football purist, right? I love lots of beautiful things about the game of football.
Fan. What are you talking about?
Does that mean
you're chatting shit, Manny?
Does that mean we have to be lowbrow? Does that mean we have to be lowbrow?
But if any Leicester fans go into the Fiorentina game next Sunday, see somebody in the Leicester end with a Fiorentina shirt, feel free to throw eggs at him.
Sitting near me,
please.
Manny, I'm going to pelt you with stuff. I tell you now.
Charming, you. I'm going to wear it now. Look, if you guys remember,
that's out of order.
Some of you might remember.
Hey, roll, which are really heavy. I just love it at you.
You love a sausage roll.
They're very nice. Those red Leicester sausage rolls.
Aren't they
nice.
just? They'd be a
All
reason
I will
to emigrate
say,
back to the UK.
this shirt that I'm wearing today is 1994 Fiorentina, managed by anyone? Managed by?
Oh man,
Correct.
Claudio
Ranieri.
Ranieri.
Don't tie it into a loose Leicester connection. Just wear the Leicester shirt.
That was
I
pretty
thought
good.
that was a good segue. I thought that was pretty slick, to be fair. Francesco Toldo. Does anyone remember that goalkeeper? Brilliant. Stefan Effenberg. Do anyone remember Stefan Effenberg?
Yeah, I liked him.
But by the way, Manny, you are legit risking your safety going into the Leicester end with that t-shirt on. I'm not joking. Yeah,
the person Rise just said it in the chit chat. One of the very best strikers I've ever seen in my life. Batty goal himself. Gabriele Battistuta. What a striker.
But none of those are going to be there next Sunday, Manny. We're watching Leicester Fiorentina, and you just said you're wearing a Fiorentina.
Yeah, shall I pull
creating
out
a load of noise around
Silly
that.
me, I'll wear my Vestergaard shirt then, shall I?
Absolutely.
That's better.
No, I think you're Skip.
Yeah, the lettering starts on the end of the sleeve and takes all the way around the back to get on. You can only see the name if he stands like a scarecrow.
Yeah. Have we got any plans this afternoon? What are you up to on this Sunday?
I'm off to a concert today. I'm seeing Kasabian tonight.
Ooh, very
So I'm
nice.
looking forward to that.
Very nice.
So, after you see them at Vicky Park and a title-winning parade, will it ever get better?
No, but I like watching them live.
Oh, I've got Oasis on Saturday.
I saw Pulp on Friday night at the same festival, and I'm seeing Kasabian tonight.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
So, right, anybody else? Any of you guys coming? Locks, you can come to the Fiorentina game?
Watch along, mate.
Commitment. I like that.
I have a ticket, but I'm going to do a watch along instead.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Especially if you're wearing that Fiorentina shirt.
I was going to use you as my human shield.
Yeah. I'll be the one throwing the eggs. Graham, what are you up to, mate? Today, any plans in Australia?
I'm going to sleep.
Well, I'm going to sleep. It's 8:30. I'm going to fall asleep in a plate of Sydney Rock oysters with a nice glass of white wine and then take myself up to bed.
You're so highbrow, Graham. With your caviar. I'm using your caviar as a pillow.
I tell you what, the Sydney Rock oysters, they are the sweetest, and they're not. But the worst job is I've got to pick my way through a bar of celebrating Lions players, and there won't be any daylight. There will be all these.
I'll help you with that, Graham. I'll help you.
I'm sure you
that
will.
Was brilliant finish yesterday, wasn't it? What a
and the great news is the Aussies here. My PA, well, I won't dare call her PA, just wants me to deliver her one home with a box of baby oil. So.
There's nothing more fun than watching the Aussies whinge about something. They're complaining about that penalty, that clean out, the penalty that wasn't given yesterday.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious.
Are you talking about rugby? Because I've got no idea.
The Lions won in the last minute of the game yesterday, and it went to TMO VAR, and VAR said there wasn't any foul play, and the Aussies are moaning about foul play. Literally, they're the ones who go, stop moaning, get on with it. The first chance they get to moan, they will moan.
But the thing is, Manny, is if it had been the other way round, they'd have gone, thank God the referee's keeping the traditions of rugby, hurting somebody when they're down. Keep that going. But the trouble is they didn't. The referee's frigging French. Do you think for 1 minute he's going to give the English and British Lions anything? No.
Where's David Campese this morning? That's what I want to know.
Right, we've lost Lars
you-
about a while ago. Thank you very much for having us on. Great to speak to you all. I enjoy my Sunday mornings / Sunday evenings when you deign to have me on.
Can you put the hat on? Can you put the hat on, Graham?
I love that it's gone to Australia with him.
Well, the thing is, it's an Australian hat. I
feel like we need Crocodile Dundee rather than Indiana Jones while you're currently in Sydney, though.
Music's not so good with Crocodile Dundee, though.
No, but you just get a
Crocodile
knife.
Dundee. I was going to try and do a piece, but the light went down in the harbour going, you should call that a knife? This is a knife. But I'll maybe save that for the next time.
And then you get arrested.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Manny, finally? Got any plans? Sleeping?
Sleep, work, squeeze in some Formula One, watch the cricket, of course. It's last day of the test today. It's not just football. Love my cricket, love my Formula One. I'm sure I'll find some other sports in between. Wife and kids to I was about to say manage, but that sounds quite wrong, doesn't it?
They manage you.
Yeah.
Not as bad as your early comment to Kate. That
What
was,
that?
an older bloke. If I'd turned around and said I'd compared you to some rock star's wife.
Yeah, but she ain't even. She's over the hill as well. It's not. We're not talking about
Yeah, but she had a very.
We're talking about a lady who's very much seen better days. Bless her.
I compared lots to Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer's dead.
I had Jerry Hall in my mind from Batman. That's the one I'm going with.
Oh yeah, she played the Grissom's girlfriend.
She did.
That's right, in the original.
I didn't know.
Michael Keaton,
was
the
dead.
best Batman ever.
Yeah, Jerry Springer's dad. I didn't know that either. No.
Yeah, he's dead. He was by the way, Jerry Springer was born in England, and he was the mayor of Cincinnati.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to take your mayor of Cincinnati and write it. Can we do a controversial post from me? You can bleep it out because we're not live, isn't it?
Oh God.
We're live
Jerry
now.
Hall.
We're live now.
No,
We're live now.
I know we are. I'm just taking the Michael. But Jerry Hall was asked once, how do you stop a world famous rock star from not copping off with anybody when he goes out? And she says, before he leaves the house, you give him a BJ.
On that note,
It's an approach.
I think when you're married to the most famous rock star in the world, kick him in the nuts would probably be.
Never let them go out with a loaded gun, huh?
There you go.
You've got a cowboy.
Right.
There you go.
I love that. Right.
It's Sunday morning, guys. This is late night Leicester stuff.
Not
It's Sunday
great.
morning.
We're getting going at Sunday night.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
It's Sunday night for him. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Lovely stuff. Thanks all. Thanks, Manny. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Graham. We will see you back tomorrow, 7 p.m. for the live call-in show. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays. See you tomorrow. Cheers all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Massive thank you to today's sponsor, Match Bingo. Over 200 grand has been paid out to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo and combining them into one amazing app. Make sure to get your bingo card for any Leicester City game in the upcoming season. Click that link in the description or via the QR code on screen.